Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I want to do a little video about how you're able to climb easily in low elo with a way better mentality. Because one of my friends requested me, man, you're playing since years League of Legends, and I have some issues getting frustrated by losing streaks. So if you're having losing streaks, you think your teammates hold your back or your teammates just run it down, and you feel also frustrated, I'll give you some advices that might help you to overcome your bad performances and your frustration in the game, to abuse the mentality of your own and of the enemies, to climb very easy in lower elo. So first of all, to myself, I'm a main AD carry and playing casually League of Legends since release. I hit Diamond and peaked Diamond 2 back in the days, I don't know, season 4 or 5, and made Diamond in the last seasons as well. So pretty much in every season I tried to get to Diamond. I made it there, like I'm trying this season as well. The only season I didn't achieve Diamond, where I was really trying, was last year. That was a season where I really struggled, to be honest. So I just stuck in Plat. That's enough information about myself. So what's my definition of lower elo? My definition of lower elo is including everything to Diamond 4. The reasoning for this is very simple. If you're in Plat 1 or you're even in Diamond 4, you have mixed games. So if you're Diamond 4, you're getting matched with Plat 1 players as well. So I'm just including this one, and it's, in my experience, the hardest to get out of the Division 4s in the different elo ranges, because of those mixed teams and people that are just not capable of climbing higher, except for the 4th division in an elo. So if you have some issues with losing streaks and you think your team's holding you back, I want to give you a little math you can think about with every game you're competing in. It's really simple. So first of all, you have the blue side, you have the red side, you have the 5 different roles, and you have to think about it like this. Every role and every player in the game has a 10% of impact in the game. So that's literally easy to say. So overall, every game is winnable. Literally every game. It doesn't matter how the game is going. Every game is winnable. There's always a low percentage, in the worst case, where you're still able to claw back in the game and take it all. So now there's a difference. Those 10% will switch. They will switch over the game state, but they will also switch at the start of the game. So there are different things that are going to impact the number of percentage for every player in the game. So for example, first and foremost, the team draft itself. So probably you're playing strong champions in the early. For example, I'm main ADC. I play Lucian Nami on bot side, and the enemies play a Kaiser in combination with whatever Syra. So the laning might be a little bit easier for the Lucian Nami, but the other do scales pretty damn hard. So, but at the start, I would say we have a slightly advantage on the blue side with the Lucian Nami. So I might change it to 12%, for example. So in this case, the other ADC gets a 8%. Nami scaling great overall in the game, gets also like 12%, and the other support gets 8% in this case. So that's just one example how the percentage is gonna switch. The same things for mechanics and macro. That's the individual capability of a player, how he's doing. So the mechanics might be pretty decent if the dude doesn't play the champ for the first time, and he has like 50 games already on the champion. You can expect him to at least understand what his champion's able to do with his spells. So maybe there's a slightly difference in the mechanics on top side, for example. The your blue side team, blue side team member is first trying Jax, and the enemy red top laner had his 16th game on Ornn. So there might be a slight mechanical difference, but as well the macro understanding. So if you have a very experienced top laner with the Ornn who plays the game for many years, follows maybe competitive games as well, he might have a better macro understanding than the other top laner. So in this case, we just gonna swap the numbers. Like 7%, the Ornn with way more experience gets the 13%. So overall, you can see the numbers just gonna switch. That's like the win ratio at the first of game at the start of the game. So other impacts on the game might be the physical and mental health. So like myself, my physical health currently isn't perfect, so it might impact my gameplay on the gameplay on my own. Like the mental health, if you have some issues in your real life, that might impact you in the game as well. So that slightly percentage, like going down with 1 or 2% overall. The champion matchup itself, if you have a counter matchup, for example, a matchup I like to play against, if my enemy AD carry just locks in a Caitlyn, it's an absolute lane bully. It's hard to play against during the laning phase, but I just go for a Kaiser pick, for example, because I'm very confident in the pick to outscale her at the mid game. So the champion matchup might be slightly in favor of the Caitlyn lane in the early stages, but in the scaling part, I might overcome her at the mid game or even later stages in the game. The role impact itself. That's a very, very important difference in the meta we're gonna play nowadays, because every role has a different impact. You know, you play a support and you are like, man, fuck, my AD carry is horrible. Top lane's feeding, I can't do shit. So the percentage might lower a lot, but the important one is if you're the support dude and the only thing you can do is you're making the difference on your own compared to the opponent on your spectative role. So, for example, the support role isn't that bad to have an overall impact onto the game. So, if you're gapping your enemy support, you might have some impact in form of roamings, for example, to impact the game overall on your own just by your role. And top lane, for example, sorry, top lane, for example, if the top lane doesn't do well, it might be not too impactful for the whole outcome of the game, I would say, because the top lane itself is currently not in that high impactful role itself. So the difference might be not too hard. And like I said, if there's a small gap between the individual capability of the players itself in top lane, the percentage might be the switching 1 or 2%. The whole issue in this thing is that you're playing support, for example, and your jungler just fucking sucks. That's absolutely crucial in the current meta, because the impact if you're getting gapped by the opponent support is like 2%. If your jungler gets gapped by the enemy jungler, the impact of that gap might be way higher. So I'd say like in the current meta, it's like 6% if just the player is individually better in any way. So it might make a bigger difference in the percentage outcome of the game itself. So that's like the role impact, and including the player skill. If there's a gap in different roles, it just impacts the percentage of win ratio or winning chances for your team overall. So if you're in a bad mood, you have a losing streak, you can try to think about this spreadsheet, taking the 10% and think about, all right, my top lane's feeding, my jungler doesn't do that great, my mid lane is great, and I'm doing great on my own as ADC or support. So you take those differences in count, and you will see there's still a chance you can win games. So if you start to tilt in games, you have to really overcome it. Just think about the fact everyone might have just a bad game, or the matchup's pretty rough. He gets a lot of jungle attention you didn't see at all because you're focused on your own lane. So the worst thing you can do in this case is to start spam pinging, flaming in the chat. So that impacts the game in many ways. First and foremost, it impacts yourself, because you're getting frustrated. You're not focusing on the game anymore, on your own gameplay. You're just trying to show your frustration to everyone, and to be honest, it doesn't change anything. In the most cases, it's even like that. The dude you're gonna flame is just getting pissed, angry, flames back in the chat, and it's just starting to be a typing war overall. And so both players, pretty much, the player who's flaming, the player or inting and getting pissed in the chat, gets frustrated, plays better, plays worse, and the dude that gets the flame is playing worse even well. So the game state itself will shift very hard, and that's the hardest impact of the game. So even if the game's starting with a 0-5 score for the enemy team, and you think like, oh man, the game is fucked already, the percentage scaling might switch a little bit. So for example, every player is dying once. So you take like 1% of every roll, and it goes into the favor of the red side in this case. But even then, you can see there's a percentage chance to win overall. Probably your scaling's better, or some bad decisions were made. And that's the thing, it's lower elo. So the people in low elo do a shit tons of mistakes. You might be in a game where you're 10-30 behind. The enemies go for a Nash, for example. But what I didn't expect is the jungler, your 0-5 jungler, who still is capable of using Smite, and he steals Baron. The whole game might switch around at this point for some reason, and the percentage of the winning chances out of that play just instantly increase like by 5%. And it's not like you're gonna lose the game by 25%. It just increased by 5%. So it's 30%. You got 3 more kills, oh man, 33% to get back in the game. So overall, you have to understand that a bad mentality and frustration on your own, you're communicating loudly to your other teammates, just impacts at least 2 players even more, most and foremost. So just try to stay calm and be silent. Don't communicate it at all. Spam pings doesn't change anything at all. Even it's making it even worse, to be honest. Because in what I'm doing, for example, if I see someone of my teammates mentally booming and spam pinging me because I'm having a rough laning, I just mute him. So what's the point, you know? He's spam pinging, so he's tilting and doesn't focus on the game anymore. It helps myself because I am able to focus on my gameplay and can try to crawl back on my own instead of getting influenced by my mentally boomed teammate. And think about this: if you're playing in a higher elo, I had those cases many times. If I play in diamond elo or higher plat elo, and you're playing on daytimes or later times where not that many people play the game at all, it might happen that you get the exact same people in your team again. So your jungler just mentally boomed in the last game, ran it down. You started to flame him and help him to do so. So you get him in the next game as well. The same jungler, the pick is anonymous, so you can't see his name. You have no idea. You get into the game, you see the name, and you think, man, fuck's sake. I got the same dude on Lee Sin who was just feeding the shit out of last game. He sees your name and thinks, oh man, that's the fucker that's spamming me the whole game long. So the start of the game might be rough already, and both of you will mentally be drained already, I'd say, after the last game. So if you just didn't spam ping him the last game and flame him in the chat, he might play better in this game, you know? So there is absolute no situation. First of all, you have to give up a game. There's always a percentage of a chance to win the whole game. And the chance to win lower elo games is even higher, even if you're behind, because of there's many mistakes that were made by the enemy people. And you shouldn't flame ping out loudly your teammates if you're pissed and frustrated about their gameplay, because it impacts your own gameplay, impacts your teammate, and it impacts extremely the chance of your team to win the game overall, because it might even impact the other teammates that are not directly into those arguing. So the only thing, and that might be something you heard very often, the only thing you're able to impact is your own gameplay. So in a world where every role is on 10%, the game is super balanced, your teammates are even on their opponent's skill, and you are the only player that should be your thinking at least, that can change the game state. So you have to think about everyone is even in the skill. Champions are fine, macro is fine, they are all mentally and physically fine. But you're the mid laner. You want to carry this game, and you're a way better player than the enemy is. So the only thing you can work on is your own percentage to impact the chances of winning. You're gapping the mid enemy by 5% because you're a way better player, and the overall impact in this case is already 55 to 45% that you with your blue team gonna take the game. So work on your own skill. If you're having a losing streak, think about those differences, advices that might impact the game. Keep calm. If something's not working out and the game's lost anyway, even then, don't flame your teammates, because you might just get them in the next game as well. And focus on your own pretty much. And if you need help to think about how to win games, think about this spreadsheet. The overall percentage is always there. There's always a chance you can claw back into the game. So yeah, take this as little advice and helper to easily get elo. And you will often see that the enemy team doesn't think about it too much, and they will just mentally boom. You steal the Baron buff, I can promise you they're gonna argue in the chat. They're gonna flame their jungler for not smiting or whatever stuff. And that's the perfect moment to make out of a 30% winning chance, 40% or 45 chance to win the game, because they're gonna mentally break down. So yes, I hope that video might help you to get some free elo in lower elo. And if you have some questions, I would appreciate a follow on this YouTube channel. Also, I'm on my Twitch channel where I'm gonna stream a lot, and just visit me there, pick it up. And if you have some questions on your own about the gaming itself or some video requests, just go for it. Tell me. I'm gonna make those. I like to help others in the games, and would like to show my experience and give it to the young guns that might be new to the game or improving at the game. So yeah, have a good one. Bye bye. See you next time.